position statements that I've been asked to clarify and ideas that I may have on how we can improve the investments that we make in public education versus incarceration is what I want to talk about right now. In the state of Texas particularly, we are, I believe, the number 2 or number 3 state in the union for incarcerating people. One of the things that I believe is the biggest sin we've made legislatively is to make incarceration and jailing people a growth industry. When you make it in a market economy, you look at how we can get customers to come through the door. A fast food chain, McDonald's, Burger King, Walmart's, the Albertsons, and so forth, they all have ways and means to try to draw customers into their facilities so that they can make a profit from that. Now, let's superimpose that kind of thinking on our penal system. If you have people who are in the business of locking people up for profit, they too will attempt to create a stream that will send customers through their door the same way any other business would try to draw customers in through their door. Now, how do we do that possibly? And it may be innocent, it may be coincidental, but I want to share that with you to prick your thinking a bit, agitate your thinking a bit. If we underfund the education system, where students are exiting the system but not having the education qualifications that they truly need to perform and function in a 21st century economy, they'll begin to take what I call shortcuts. Those shortcuts will lead to an introduction to the penal system, starting with the juvenile justice system and working its way up. What happens? If they are not properly educated, if they see themselves as undereducated, but still having the same kinds of needs that the average citizen does, they'll begin to take shortcuts. Those shortcuts will have them wind up in the penal system. And we've got to make sure that our legislators are held to a standard to make sure that anytime we have assets and resources that are devoted to public education, leave them right there. And do what you can to enhance those rather than take away from them. And again, one of the sins we commit when we take a look at budget situations in our various legislatures, we take a look at the public education system and they become one of the first ones to cut. I believe that in the 2012 race, we were sitting somewhere around $4 billion to $4 million. I forget the figure exactly, but I know it was a pretty good chunk of change that was taken out of the public education system to try to mitigate some of the budget mistakes that were made at the national level. We never seem to have enough to educate them when they're 10, but I always seem to find enough money to lock them up when they're 20. In the state of Texas particularly, for every $1 we would devote to a pupil, we'll devote $2 to a prisoner. Now ask me what will produce the greatest dividend. We need to ask ourselves a question. Have we had our priorities misguided by the way we are investing dollars, public tax dollars, in the incarceration system versus the system of education? Education is always going to produce a much greater dividend for you than incarceration ever will. And for this campaign, you should expect that there'll be legislation immediately introduced to try to change how we look at the penal system. And if that involves a national level congressional representative visiting a state legislature and then using that as a bully pulpit to talk about the wisdom of how we spend tax dollars on incarceration versus education, I believe we can begin to alter the trajectory that we're taking in this community and in this country. You'll get a much better dividend for every dollar you invest in educating a child, educating a pupil, than incarcerating a prisoner. I ask you to take a strong look at that. Examine our campaign. Challenge me on it, but also bring your ideas to the table as well. We cannot truly say that we represent the will and wishes of the people until we ask the people what they think, what they want, and what they wish for.